Good evening, race fans. Welcome to PSGL's F11 round 3 of our 29th season. Would you believe we are headed to the incredible Spa circuit in Belgium? My name is Webbo. I'll be your commentator for this evening. And joining me, as you've seen in the last two races, is our good friend Branch. Hey, Branch.
Hey, what's going on? Um, yeah, I'm excited for to sit here and wait for 4 hours before we get going.
I think we can
It's gonna be,
promise everybody some racing tonight.
I would hope so. I would hope so. I think
That's
everyone's been a little bit tuckered out of waiting for racing at Spa. So I think hopefully we're all good to go.
no, absolutely. Welcome if you're joining us on the stream. Remember to let us know who you're here for. What's your plan for the evening? What's your prediction? And we'll try and mention as many of you as possible on the stream, but not to get distracted by away from the action, which I think there will be plenty of it tonight. Branch.
Yeah, absolutely. As we saw in real life, this place is very prone to rain, so we could see some rain falling. Luckily for us, it won't stop the racing, which I think we're all a little bit happy about. Um, but even without the rain, this is one of my favorite tracks on this game. It's very challenging,
Yeah.
especially with the new car physics that have been introduced in F1 2021. It's a much more difficult circuit, in my opinion. Uh, so it'll be exciting to see what kind of action we get from it.
Yeah, I certainly can't wait. And I, for one, after a number of fairly difficult omens over the weekend, I, for one, am quite pleased that the worst that can happen to any of our drivers tonight is a DNF. So definitely looking forward to it. There are a couple of moments in this lap branch where, even as a gaming driver, you take an intake of breath and don't breathe it out until you've got through the corner.
Yeah, at least three or four different spots on this track where you just have to hold your breath and hope that where you put the car is the right place to put the car. Um, you know, I think everyone knows about Eau Rouge and Rayon at this point. It's those two sections of that section of corners is just possibly one of the most famous in motorsport. Uh, Besides, I don't know, maybe the Monaco hairpin or something like that. But
Yeah.
there you have to be so pinpoint precise on this track, even in the game.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to see. I think we'll see the best drivers come out on top in this one.
Yeah, we're as you can see, we're about to get started, so we're right on time. We're doing this fantastically. FaZe Max will head the championship uh, tonight after a win and a third place, I believe, um, in the first two rounds. So that's really cool. We've got Toss My Salad, who won't, I think, be racing tonight. I think he's had to miss out. So he will not be challenging for this championship, and we'll hope to resume his battles as we head into the next race. So we're looking to see some good performances from the guys who've had a number of DNFs. I know Panda's DNF twice in two races, as has Giovi. And we also welcome Sunoda and BMW Ustavier to our driver list for filling up some of our reserve places tonight.
Yeah, good friend with Oosterveer from our old league. Great driver, good editor as well. Extremely good editor, I should say.
Absolutely, yeah. Yep,
So
it's amazing how many times you bump into the same drivers on the track around the gaming environment. But yeah, we can't wait to get going, and it looks like it's going to be dry at least for the start of qualifying. We haven't had a weather forecast just yet.
it is looking fairly cloudy. I can't see the sky right there. It looks pretty dark. Um, but I don't see anything that would tell me it's about to rain. So at least for now, I would say we are going to have a dry qualifying.
It's looking that way. We've got a Haas out on track, heading down to Rivage. Difficult corner to get right, branch. You can take more speed into it than you imagine, but then it's kind of waiting to get the power down.
Yeah, in a sense, it's kind of a double apex corner. You come into it pretty fast, and then you have to just kind of let the car roll itself through before you can get on the gas again, even a little bit early, and you'll be sent into that 45-degree angle curve, it seems, on the outside that is almost impossible to recover from.
Absolutely. Well, Jarmo Buturgi is the first car out there on track, the first one to get out there in a hot lap very soon. He's going at the moment through Blanchimont. Not really a corner unless it's particularly bad weather or you've absolutely ruined your tyres. And we'll go down to the bus stop chicane branch to start a flying lap with Jarmo.
Yeah. Should I take us through this lap?
Please.
Alright, so it looks like he took a bit of a wide entry into that corner to get more speed going down the front stretch. Can save you a little bit of time down into La Source, the former last corner of the circuit, now the first corner on the circuit. And we head down to a flat out section. It's flat out from here all the way down the Camel Straight, up Eau Rouge, up Radion, keeping it tight. May have lifted a little bit, but especially for a banker, it's not a terrible idea going up there. Very easy to lose the car. Head down this very long ERS Camel Straight. Watch out for that curb on the right and on the left. You can't really touch either of them without the car getting unsettled. You can cut that corner a lot though. You need to if you want to have a good exit. Down into this corner we were talking about earlier. Heavy braking. Gotta just let the car roll itself through. Slight lift right there as we head down into... I forgot the name of this corner.
This one's Pouan, yeah.
Almost flat out. He looks like he went a little bit wide. And that may be the end of his time here.
Well, we will hope to find a driver who makes it through a full lap, or at least post Pouan, and then you can finish off your track guide with us. Someone was just disqualified, Branch, Jamie, for going in the wrong direction on track.
Yeah, we've had two drivers actually. It looks like I was able to catch them just before they were taken away from our spectator menu.
Yeah.
It looks like they were both in Eau Rouge, so maybe they ran into each other possibly?
Well, I saw a car, I think it was Jibuk in the Mercedes, in the tyre barrier on the exit of Radion. So I don't know, maybe it was synchronized spins up there. Maybe one car getting it wrong meant, as often happens, the blind corner means that another car will plow into it. But hopefully Jibuk and Jamie will let us know on the chat or the chat room. Yeah, so he said he spun in Eau Rouge and he tried to turn around and he got disqualified for doing that. You do have to be very careful not to trigger those penalties, Branch, when you're rejoining the track.
They are fairly easy to get, I should say, because just, I guess if you're not paying attention, you don't really think about the idea of getting a disqualification because you're just trying to turn your car around. But the game, as soon as you spin like that, is waiting to give you that disqualification. So
we've got a couple of early laps in. Vettel has gone provisional pole with Shadow behind. I'm just watching with Matty, who's having a good race and certainly a good tow down the back straight, and manages to get into P3 with Florian in P2. Vettel holding on to that 41.7 Branch early on. Jimmy Allen is on track, heading down through Stavelot. I think they're calling the second part of Stavelot Jean-Pierre now on the broadcast today. I'm not quite up to date with that one, unfortunately, but I do know he's going through Blanchimont and heading towards the bus stop.
Well, I think we're going to see much faster times out of these drivers later on. This track is, like we said, very difficult to get right, and also with how long the lap is, it gives the drivers more opportunity for not only success but also failure. So the times will be more spread out at the beginning than they will be near the end of the
Looks like Tsunoda is heading into Pouan Branch on a hot lap.
Alright, so coming out of Pouan, almost flat out. You can't take it flat out. It looks flat out, but it's not. Then we head into this series of S corners. He almost cuts the corner there. This one, and he gets onto it. I was going to say, you can't get on that curb or you will spin.
Yeah.
He does exactly that.
Unfortunately, Tsunoda spinning. Looks like he got out of shape in that first section of Lafania, or Piff Paff, I think they've been calling it now as well. But yeah, it was the second part that really caught him out.
Yeah, that curb, I don't remember it being like that on 2020, but definitely in this game, it's one of those curbs that you just can't really touch, or if you do, you have to attack it heavily, almost to the point of going off the circuit, which is generally not a good idea.
Fortunately, I'm just watching with Wobo in the other Haas, and he got it wrong coming out of No Name and backed it into the barriers fairly gently. So we'll go around and try again for another lap. Our server admin, Liam13, on an out lap at the moment. Might be good to follow him. I know you'll approve of his car choice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot of getting it wrong. I think the track evolution will happen, and it will happen relatively quickly through this session branch, but at the moment it looks like the car's really struggling to get a lap in.
Yeah, it does seem that way, and you know, we've seen that a lot with this circuit. Like I said, it's one of the more challenging circuits on the game, so it's not a surprise at all that we're seeing drivers struggle with it, especially early on. I think as qualifying goes on, we'll see drivers start to pick it up a little bit, and even in the race, as the race goes on, it's just a little bit easier. The more laps you do, the easier the track becomes for you. But you know, at the moment, everyone, even with the practice they've had all week, once you get into this situation and you have one chance at it, the pressure becomes a little bit heavy, and some drivers just can't handle it. Yamo's
out of the session. I didn't see why, but Liam13 surprisingly warming the tyres on the back straight. He's about to start his lap. Let's see how he gets on as he heads down to La Source for the first time at racing speed. Getting into the dip nicely.
Corner is very interesting. We saw a lot of people in qualifying yesterday for real Formula 1 taking that actually fairly wide to avoid, I guess, the slippery rubber that's on the inside. I'm not really certain, but
yeah. I think the dip compression right on the apex, it's a little bit like the hairpin in Suzuka. It's probably best avoided by a matter of a foot or two, just to keep the car on the level.
Yeah, these cars obviously are almost like a plank in a sense, where if you lift one corner up, more of the rest of it comes with it. So
yeah, they're very, very rigid, especially at low speed and low downforce.
Yeah, and even the exit of La Source, you know, you have to be careful on the exit part of that corner. It's just it's a very interesting corner. This track has a lot of very interesting corners. It's what makes it one of the classics of the F1 calendar.
Absolutely, a character of its own, a standout track, a combination of long full throttle periods that benefit you if you run a low downforce setting, but some corners that are most definitely aero balance critical, so that the low downforce setting just means that the cars are skittish, really difficult to control and keep a handle of, because you can't give up that top speed.
Yeah, and those the types of tracks that bring that, you know, Spa comes to mind. Azerbaijan is fairly similar in that respect.
Yeah.
They always seem to provide very interesting racing, because some people will want to benefit a little bit more with the high downforce, so they go with a more high downforce setup, and some people feel like they are strong enough in the high downforce where they can go with a lower downforce setup and be faster in the straights. And it's a compromise that in the race tends to be brought out extremely heavily, and it's very interesting.
Well, our previous winner, FaZe Max, crosses the line in the Aston Martin and goes 6/10 faster than Vettel. A fantastic first lap for FaZe Max, and he can now afford to relax a little and really push now for his next few laps, because that one looked pretty special, Branch.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll see any 140s. That's pretty cool. Obviously, only 2/10 off of a 140, but, you know, the rest of the field has a lot of time to make up. We still haven't seen... three drivers who haven't put in a lap yet. Oh! I was on board with Vettel. He was going into the pit lane and wrecked into the wall, and his wheel came off. So he's out of the session.
So Vettel will go no faster. I was watching with Jan Raven, and who spins into Lecum, and that is what is he intact? I think he's intact enough to get to the pits. He's just waiting for a gap in the traffic, which is very good of him, despite being ghosted. Still waiting for a moment to get through. But yeah, so there was also a car on the exit of Radion again. Branch. I don't know if it had managed to come to a stop or was completely out of the session, but yeah, it's biting everybody. I was thinking that Liam 1-3 didn't put in a particularly great lap, but maybe putting in any kind of a lap is a credit to the drivers at this stage.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think all of them have more pace available to them. It's just the fact of being able to put it together for one single lap. You know, like I mentioned, this lap is the longest on the Formula 1 calendar. Actually, technically speaking, by FIA standards, this track is illegal to race on because it is 4 meters longer than the specified regulations that the FIA bring forth. Obviously, they still allow it because 4 meters is almost nothing. So,
good start. I like that one.
But, you know, because of that, you have to be focused for an entire 1 minute 40 seconds, and it's pretty difficult to do that around a track like this.
Absolutely. Huberto Mancini, I think he's on his way into the pits, but he after having a great race out in Paul Ricard last week, he is maintaining some of that momentum, still half a second away from phase max, but enough for second place right now. Jimmy Allen is back out there, and he's cutting huge amounts of track, so probably best not to focus on him right now. I think Liam 1-3 is about to start a lap, so we'll perhaps watch with him. We'll stay with him as long as he's under his time. No, he's headed into the pits, surprisingly. Okay, Jan Raven around the middle sector on a warm-up lap, or at least has invalidated, so won't be setting a time this time. Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri, appropriately enough, just ragging the car into Stavolo. He's not troubling the apex into there. Excuse me, that was the Fania. Now into Stavolo, running out on the curb with a purple middle sector. I think he looks on the ragged edge here, Branch.
Yeah, he's really pushing the car right now. Going into Poulan, actually, he did a line that's very interesting. Instead of keeping on the track, he had one wheel on the track and one wheel on the green turf that is on the side. You can kind of run that line. It's very difficult because that green concrete is very thin, but he was able to do it.
He threw the car into the bus stop and goes up to P6, an 18-second improvement on his previous time. So I'm sure he'll be pretty happy with that one. But he was really pushing hard there. The car's now almost predictably in the pits or on out laps. I think we've got Wobo looking to set his first lap. NRO is looking to improve, and so is Vapor Shadow. Just warming the car up there in the Williams. I think it will likely be BMW in the Red Bull, who will cross the line first to start his next lap. Let me see. Yeah, I think that's about right. So we'll watch with him. We haven't seen how he's doing on track at the moment, Branch.
Well, he's in a Red Bull, so I don't know if that we do use equal performance in this league, obviously, but maybe there's a little bit of mental acuity going on with that.
Hey to everybody joining us in the chat, especially Ryan, who is being very vocal. Ruben, Theo, Impact. Good to see you all here. I think Vapor Shadow's in the chat as well, but hopefully he's not listening in too attentively, and he's got his engine note turned up. We'll start a lap then with BMW. Current fastest a 42.5 for him, a 41.1 for Phase Max. So a banker lap in for BMW is enough to get him in the top 10.
Sonoda just put in a 1:41.5. I didn't even realize he was on a lap still.
No, that was his second lap. You see he's got 2 laps. I thought he'd given that up. Amazing to get a lap like that in on 2-lap-old soft branch.
I will say it is amazing to get a lap like that. However, I don't know how useful it will be for him to have to start the race on those 2-lap-old softs.
Well, he'll be hoping to stay out of trouble in La Source, and being second on the grid gives you the second best likelihood of staying out of trouble. So it might help. And the cars do tend to stretch out after 2 or 3 laps, given the long straights and certainly those long, achingly long corners. BMW looks to be on a good lap at the moment.
Speaking on oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, joining the apex is up pretty nicely here. Where is he? Into second sector.
Oh,
2/10 up. Yeah.
He's slowing down, unfortunately.
And he was up on his time, unfortunately. Yeah. Go ahead, Branch.
Well, mentioning turn 1 at this track, this is actually the first track I ever raced on in a league. And turn 1, someone in the back of the grid, their brake pedal stopped working, and they decided to use the rest of the field as their brake pedal. So in my first race, I was taken out in turn 1.
Flashbacks. Poor, bad memory for you.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I'm sure you've had successful races around here, though. All the same. Wobo for the line. Improves to P8. So that was a handy improvement for him. I think, we've got Liam just coming round the bus stop. He's 4/10 under through the second sector. This should see him up to P6. So 41.9. Nice improvement for Liam. Next across the line will, I think, be NRO, who has invalidated. So it will be Florian, his teammate, following behind. He would have done well after invalidating to wait on track for his teammate, Branch, and give him a tow.
Yeah, that would have been ideal. I don't know how often these drivers use party. I use them sometimes with my teammates, but I guess it's not much communication going on there. Either that or they just decided it wasn't important enough. Oh, Florian really almost losing at the bus stop. He did lose a little bit of time from that.
Absolutely. I think it's Huberto now who isn't improving massively. I think the time has clicked to 0, so he'll try and cross the line, but I'm not going to get too excited about Huberto's lap here because he was 5/10 over. Yeah, no improvement, unfortunately. It looks like maybe BMW, I don't know, he's 4/10 under his time, and he will get to cross the line again. Gets down to the bus stop. That looked good through there, not using too much of the curb, but not risking hitting those sausage curbs either. For the line then, BMW gets P9. May not be ideal for him, P9, if he was starting 11th beforehand.
Jan Raven didn't look like he improved his position. I think he did improve his lap, but his first lap was a 2-minute lap, so it's not that hard to improve from there. So that'll be our grid.
That's the session gone. Absolutely. Do us all a favour and take us through the race order, please, Branch.
Alright, so FaZe Max in the Aston Martin, much farther ahead of the field in first place. Sonoda 4.5 tenths behind him in second, and Huberto rounds out the podium for this qualifying session. Then we have Vettel and Florian running up the top 5, then Jimmy Allen, Liam, Maddie, BMW Oosterveer, and Vapor Shadow in the top 10. And then we have Wobo, NRO, and Jan Raven rounding out the people who set times. And then we have Yarmo, Jamie, and Jabuk. Is that how you say his name?
I'm going with Jabuk, yeah. Without any further guidance from him. That's so, if you hear your name called out and we're not saying it right, do let us know in the DMs. That'd be cool. Jibuk, I know, mentioned that at the trial times, if there were anything to go by, he would have been P1 or P2 today without that mistake in Radion. So we'll look to him for making up some grid. And look at that, some shadows, some sharp shadows in Belgium. Your eyes do not deceive you. That is, in fact, the orange ball in the sky called the sun. So that
Yeah, I don't
should be
know.
good for after this weekend.
These fans, I don't know how often they get to see this thing, but it is called a sun. Very different from the sun that you may or may not have at home if you have one. I assume that sun doesn't radiate energy the way the sun in the sky does.
We've got Vapor Shadow saying that he has 1% braking happening when he puts the DRS on. So I've not heard of that error before. But we get ready for our formation lap, and hopefully we'll just have one of those tonight, Branch.
Yeah. Um, yeah, we got a few more than we wanted, I think, today.
I know you. I know you couldn't make it to be with us last week, but we had 2 aborted streams and 2 restarts. So I'm especially excited to try and see if people can get in during the race rather than trying to. I think someone joined through qualifying and it messed everything up.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope we don't deal with that. I don't think anyone joined mid-qualifying. I think we had 16 when we started, and we have 16 now.
Yeah,
So.
Jamie in 15th, Branch, starting on soft tyres. So he'll be hoping to make some places up on the first lap or 2.
Yeah, that is quite an interesting strategy. He's the only one outside of the top 10 that chose that. I would probably say it's not the optimal strategy.
Yeah.
I don't... Can you one-stop starting on softs here, or is it a forced 2-stop?
Well, I guess if you're willing to run the hards, and the hards wouldn't be such a penalty around a high-deg long track circuit like Spa. We do, of course, only do 22 laps, but it's kind of equal in terms of distance, obviously. So my guess is it's achievable, but I don't see many of them for sure.
Oh! And as Jamie just wrecked into the wall on the formation lap, taking out some brake marker boards. Didn't look like he got any damage from it. I don't think he can get damage necessarily on the formation lap. But
yeah,
not a great way to start a race.
He's avoided a DSQ, which there's a fairly hair triggers that cause the DSQs on the formation lap. So he can count himself with 1 stroke of luck so far tonight, and at least he'll know what not to do on the first lap of a race or after restarting laps. The driver's just assembling down towards the bus stop, and it might be more important than ever, Branch, if you can watch from mid-pack or further back, and give us an idea if we get any kind of accidents through La Source, Eau Rouge, Radion,
Yep.
Lecum, Malmedy. It can happen anywhere. But looks like we're all good to get going, guys. Phase Max on pole from Tsunoda, Huberto Mancini, Vettel, Florian, Jimmy Allen, Liam, Matty, and BMW with Vapor Shadow behind him. We've got our lights starting up. And it's lights out and go, go, go at PSGL's F11 as Phase Max gets away very nicely. Looks like the car's going very, very sweetly away from the starting grid and pretty even. McLaren just hobbling over that exit curb. The Ferrari of Vettel has made up 1 place already and will be looking to try and get a tow coming up and defend from the guy, his victim, Huberto.
Oh! I think Vapor Shadow's off.
We've got
Rouge,
Vapor
he's
gone.
out of the race.
We've got Vapor gone, but the race continues until such time as we see any kind of caution period. We got a yellow flag in sector 1.
NRO spun.
So NRO.
Oh, and BMW spun. Lobo spun. Everyone's spinning.
Wow. Okay. So double yellow flag sectors. Looks like we are likely to get a safety car, folks. But we're racing up until that point with the Ferrari of Vettel in 3rd place. Cars navigating that difficult Pouhon corner for the first time on relatively cold tyres, and they go through the Fagna. Yeah, there goes Vettel, just getting it wrong on the exit of Fagna too.
Yeah, we've got an Alpine spinning as well of Jamie.
Did you happen to catch what happened, what pushed, or Wobo's gone from the session as well as Vapor Shadow? So what caused that one, Branch? Any ideas?
For Jamie?
For Vapor Shadow and Wobo.
Vapor Shadow, I think, just got a little bit too much curb on the right side of Radeon, and once you start spinning in that corner, there's no saving it. He just went directly into the wall.
Right.
As for the rest of them, I think it was just not giving each other enough space at the end of the camel straight, and just kind of a domino effect where one driver spun, another driver trying to avoid, he hit the wall. Just a lot of stuff that created that.
Okay, so Phase Max going through into lap 3 now. Vettel looks pretty close behind Huberto Mancini. Looks to be a good opportunity to catch a toe down the straight. We've lost Jan Raven, it looks like, getting a penalty already.
And Jabuk as well.
We just lost several drivers, Branch. A VSC has been declared, but we lost BMW, Jibuk, Jam Raven, all in that section through Eau Rouge.
I've never seen them. It looks like we lost 3 drivers in Eau Rouge there. We have a safety car, 5 DNFs in the first 2 laps.
Yeah, that's an incredible attrition rate. Sadly, I was focusing on the closer battles at the lead than to see what happened, but I hope that the remaining 19 laps are going to be a little bit cleaner than the first 2 or 3. Vapor Shadow said didn't even touch the curb, it just spun him round. Jibuk the same. Just impossible to keep cars on track at the moment. I mean, on the one hand, you would say 11 cars have managed it, but yeah, bad luck for Vapor Shadow, Jibuk, BMW as well, reserving a rare opportunity for him to reserve race. And let's see what the drivers do. I forget now, Branch, it was Tsunoda, wasn't it, who went on to a second time lap, and he elects to go through past the pits while Huberto Mancini pits. I was wondering if Tsunoda would have pitted at that point.
That is a pretty interesting move there. I think I probably would have pitted at that point, get off of those warm tires, because at the end of the safety car lap, he may only have 1 or 2 laps left in those tires.
Jimmy Allen and Liam 13 have also pitted. So Huberto Mancini, Jimmy Allen, Liam 13 onto hard tires. So they're going to try that tricky one stopper, I think. Phase Max will retain the lead, of course, from Tsunoda, who has, despite what it says on our grid order, Tsunoda has run an extra lap on those soft tyres, and he's been quite aggressive with the warm-up when we were only in Sector 1. I can't believe we've lost BMW. Blizzard asking in the chat if we can see a replay of the crash. Unfortunately, Blizzard, we're unable to do replays. The game does not have that facility, and I desperately wish it did. I wish, a race-ending collision, there was an automatic replay, especially during a safety car period. We're going to have to wait to see Jibuk, Jan Raven, Oosterveer, Vapor Shadows point of view recordings that they've made, and hopefully they will clip it. I'm sure if you subscribe to their personal channels, you'll be able to see anything that they can post mid-race or potentially into this week. Especially if there was some sort of fault of another driver, then we'll know about it, right? And we'll keep you abreast if we hear about it in next week's race.
Yeah, if that was the cause of just driver error or mistake that could end up going to the stewards, we'll most likely see it in the steward's office, and at that point, I think it will likely get sent around a bit. But unfortunately, the stewards are not able to punish the curbs in the game or particular corners. I'm sure that they would have lots of referrals if that were the case. So Max, Tsunoda, Vettel, your order with Florian, Matti, the soft runners who haven't pitted yet. Then Yamo is a medium runner who hasn't pitted, followed by the cars who elected for a cheap pit stop and to give up track position, which you've got to say at this stage of a race around Spa, probably a sensible decision. I wonder if anybody decides to go in now. Yeah, look, Tsunoda has decided to go in.
but not Florian. So Tsunoda has decided now that we're going to run another lap to go in. Now, unfortunately, that does mean he gives up every single track position, but he will at least be on the right tyres for the remainder of the race branch.
Well, he is actually going to be going on to medium tires.
Yeah.
That is quite surprising. I don't think you can make it to the end on mediums unless you were extremely careful with them.
Yeah, I can't see mediums doing it, but I mean, presumably committing to a two-stopper, unless, you know, we have multiple safety car laps, of course, that will obviously help. I've seen some surprising tyre longevity from a number of drivers so far in this game, but I think that would be pushing it. 18 laps on medium tyres around Spa.
Yeah,
Ryan saying he thinks 16 is about the maximum, so I guess another lap under the safety car. Oh, I wouldn't want to be doing it myself.
Yeah, it seems a bit. You know, I've done some race simulations around this place, and doing the one-stop soft to medium, by the end of the race, the tires are in the 70% range, close to the puncture range that the game provides, which is at 75%. Once a tire reaches that, you have the random possibility of a puncture.
Well, just keeping everybody abreast then of the position changes, Jarmo has gained the most, 9 places up. So his would be an interesting point of view to follow up on later in the week and see how he did all of that. Just avoiding lots of trouble. I know he didn't get a good time in at qualifying, so it goes to show that unlike real life around Spa, qualifying doesn't necessarily mean everything. And yeah, I think a lot of well-worn driving cliches have been rewritten this weekend. But the safety car will be coming in, Branch, and we'll be resuming racing very shortly.
Yeah, you know, we will talk about George Russell a little bit. You know, he's known as Mr. Saturday, and that name couldn't ring more truer now, I guess.
Right. Got a second place on a Saturday, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Ryan's saying it's definitely a risky strategy, but I think he's pretty good at tyre wear management himself. Phase Max though will become the de facto safety car and will choose when to go. He's still weaving at the moment, and he hasn't gone just yet. Does he go on the way out of the bus stop? Yes, he does. Fires.
Got a great jump on Vettel.
Yeah, he really did. Had a nice wide entry, almost kidding Vettel into thinking that he wasn't going to go and would hold them up on the start-finish straight, but he went anyway, and he's stretched out a great lead. Florian close to Vettel as they head into Eau Rouge, and he'll get the benefit of a tow all the way up if you can avoid the aero wake. Running slightly wide there, Florian, and let's see, Jarmo nailed on the back of Matty's Alpine. Here comes the Haas down the Camel Straight. This one will be done under braking if it's done at all. Tries to take the outside line, washes out slightly as the Alpine goes round, but well held by Jarmo, and we live to fight another day, and it looks like we got all our 11 drivers through Eau Rouge and Raidillon for the first time cleanly.
Yeah, I gotta say, that was extremely respectful driving by Matty and Jarmo.
Yeah.
To give each other room. It was a dive bomb nonetheless, but it was a clean dive bomb, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. People expecting more safety cars. Yeah, of course. That's always a safe bet. I don't think I've seen a league race this season in any league, let alone a league as prestigious as PSGL. I don't think I've seen a race without 2 safety cars or more, especially around a punishing track like Spa.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if that may have something to do with the addition of safety car frequency that I think is in this. I don't know if there is a need to maybe turn it down a little bit.
I would say Tsunoda has had a great early lap, and he's going side by side with Liam 1-3 through the bus stop. So those medium tyres on Tsunoda's car have certainly helped him relative to the cars around him, and they're fresher than anybody else's. Gets a little tap on the back of the Ferrari on the way through. Looks like Jimmy
This is
Allen,
gonna be side by side.
this is going to be tight. He needs to lift off Branch on the way through here. Now he'll try and get a double toe, but it looks like Liam 1-3 probably more likely to overtake. Gets out of the slipstream, and that air is going to hit the car like a brick wall. They're going to have to go side by side through here. Wow,
Ooh.
Jimmy Allen closed the door pretty hard. I don't think he actually made contact, but he kind of spooked Liam.
Yeah, it did not look like there was any contact at all, but it was a fairly aggressive turn in, and we've lost Vettel. Vettel has spun off coming out of no name, and that's a safety car.
Oh, there we go again. Another safety car, guys. Apologies, but yeah, we did just see him facing backwards on the wrong side of the grass after no name must have spun under traction. Wow. So we changed the look of the race again. The head of the race stays as Phase Max, with Florian there in second place now. And look at Jarmo. Look at the positions change so far. Starting 14th, he's up to third now, and on a favourable tyre. Doesn't have to pit right now. He might elect to pit though, Branch.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the dumbest idea to pit. He will obviously have to go onto hard tyres, or else that would really ruin his race strategy. As we're seeing both of the leaders come into the pits, Jarmo is going to stay out, so he will inherit the lead.
Exactly. Matty going in. Jimmy Allen going in, Jamie in, Liam I'm sure will go in after that scary moment for him, and NRO, the last one, he will also pit. So honestly, looks like just Jarmo has decided not to on these medium tyres. Out of the first two safety cars, Jarmo the only one on the tyres that he started the race on.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll be able to keep this lead. I don't think he is necessarily going to be able to, considering I don't think anyone else besides maybe Tsunoda will have to pit again.
Yeah.
Those medium runners, as we mentioned, 16 laps is around the max for those tires, and we are into that threshold. I'm doing my math right. We have 15 laps left in this race.
Yeah, and one of them will almost certainly still be under the safety car. I'm surprised to see the safety car. It looked like Vettel's car was fairly intact. I guess he must have hit the wall with some speed. The marshals have already cleared it away, so we lose yet another car, and we're down to 10.
Where his car was in relation to the racing line, it looks like he may have washed out wide and hit that outside tire barrier.
Yeah.
And maybe taken his wheel off there, which I would expect will probably be a fairly decent impact if you're almost full throttle coming out of that corner. So,
yeah, it's fairly quick, isn't it, through no name. Certainly the car's on the edge. Yeah.
It definitely makes it this race last a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's just the way it goes. It's lap 7 only of 22. We've certainly watched Mercedes safety cars plenty this weekend. I could really do without watching any more. I wish I had a fast forward button for everybody. Of course, if you're watching back on stream, you will of course have that luxury of pressing fast forward. It's Jarmo on lap 7 who takes the lead from the 14th place on the grid, followed by Huberto Mancini following his great race in France. Then Tsunoda, I think it might be his first race because I think he's a reserve driver, so showing very well. Tsunoda in third place so far. Then we've got all the guys who decided to pit under the second safety car, our previous race leader, Phase Max, from Florian, Matty, Jimmy Allen, Jamie. We've got Liam 1-3 in P9 in the Ferrari, and then the last runner is also the last points position in 10th place, NRO in the McLaren. So Phase Max and Huberto staying near the top here, as you would expect after their form from the first two races. But no one can really afford to relax, Branch, around this track.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There is not there's not a point to relax around this track. It's kind of like Monaco, but with a lot more going on.
Yeah.
In terms of just around the lap. Obviously, Monaco is probably the most difficult track I've ever tried to race at on the sim game. I don't know about you, very difficult, but Spa's definitely up there. And what I'm most interested in, I think, for this restart is how the hard tire runners will do. More specifically,
I do recall. I don't. Let us know in the chat what you think is the most difficult track on sim racing. For me, I think there was there was or is an Eiffel mountain track on Gran Turismo that absolutely killed me. If we just lost Yarmo, he spun.
Yarmo spun, yeah. I don't think he's going to get his position back, and he is down into 8th
from the lead. This race. This race is taking drivers out even under the safety car. Yarmo making a mistake. I don't think he's free to resume his position. He's certainly not getting an instruction, and the drivers ahead of him haven't picked up penalties for passing him. Though we did see Jimmy Allen pick up a penalty there. Did you see? Was that just going off track weaving?
I'm confused because it said ignoring the yellow flag is the reason he got the penalty. I don't know what would... I've never seen that message before, and I don't know what would cause that, because he's not passing people, it seems.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what could have caused that.
No, that was definitely surprising. Yeah, you're getting a lot of support for Monaco as the most difficult track. Hey to Senna joining us in the chat, friend of Branch and I's. Yeah, it's good to see. But no, I definitely remember. I mean, obviously Nürburgring, the Green Hell, it's probably more challenging, I think, than Monaco. But that Eiffel track under racing conditions, just I could just remember rage quitting so many times in that race. It was just not funny. Looks like we're green flag though. Huberto now inherits the lead, so he gets the jump on Tsunoda, but Tsunoda was pretty close and probably about your optimum distance, Branch, as they head towards Eau Rouge for the first time after this restart.
Yeah, I think he might have a chance at getting him, and it looks like he had a much better line through Eau Rouge as he is major overspeed, even without the DRS. It looks like he has DRS on.
Yeah, there he goes.
Very easily inherits the lead, and Huberto puts up almost no fight. I'd have to think Huberto's playing the long game here with his hard tires, knows he's not faster.
Yeah. I mean, he will have suffered with grip coming out of La Source and through Eau Rouge. He probably had to lift on cold hard tyres, Branch.
Yeah, I wouldn't at all be surprised. FaZe Max has had a pretty good start, keeping his position.
Just saw FaZe Max absolutely track extending through No Name, ran right out near the wall. That was pretty risky. I know in the Formula 3 races, drivers were going right to the outside edge of that one, but that was within track limits. But that was close for him.
Yeah, he's also catching up to the back of Huberto now, so it seems FaZe Max may have a little bit more pace on these hard tires. Obviously, they are a little bit fresher, but I don't know how much that does when it's only 4 laps.
Right. FaZe Max, though, 3/10 behind and catching gradually. I think these two know that they're in a battle with each other for the race. So whether FaZe Max, I'm pretty sure I remember FaZe Max getting really good tyre temperature after a restart in one of the previous 2 races. I think he's got a good technique under the safety car. Florian's up there too.
Yeah, I'd have to say the fact that he didn't lose any positions to medium runners behind him says a lot. He's holding with the guys in front. Huberto gets a 3-second time penalty for Eau Rouge, and he goes wide, almost going into the wall there. That was close.
Misjudged that one, definitely. Handed that place to... he hasn't actually lost a place. I thought he'd be passed by there, but no. It was a faster line.
He seemed to have hold some speed there. We have a flag in Sector 1. I don't know who that would be. It looks like Jamie again has spun his Alpine coming out of Eau Rouge.
I almost want a permanent picture-in-picture static camera through Eau Rouge and Radeon, Branch.
Yeah, that would that wouldn't be a terrible idea. Unfortunately, I don't think the game allows us to do that.
No.
But
It'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah. In the future they do update the spectator cam a little bit.
When we have proper race director privileges, that will be definitely one to set up, I think. Or a helicopter cam as the cars are screaming through there together would be good. But pretty much you can lose it at any time through Eau Rouge, and you can lose it at any time through Pouhon.
Absolutely. It looks like Florian is starting to catch up to the back of FaZe Max as FaZe Max is catching the back of Huberto.
So he is, yeah.
With DRS coming in this lap, we may see some action going into Lacoon, I believe is the name of that corner, coming out of the end of the camel straight.
That's right, absolutely. Very different lines through the bus stop from Huberto and FaZe Max, and that's not entirely unusual. Wow, big sideways moment for Jimmy Allen coming out of La Source. Upset the car balance through that dip we were talking about. And here comes FaZe Max. He's got brilliant drive through Eau Rouge. He's on the Kemmel straight. He's forced to the outside. Liam 1-3 we've lost with a big yellow flag, and the timing of that would suggest Eau Rouge again. Florian now, a late lunge, but backed out of it sensibly. FaZe Max got by Huberto. Florian was trying to follow through on the opposite side, and he'll show himself in the mirrors as they go into Beau Rivage. We've lost actually our host, Liam, so he's quit completely out of everything. I wonder if that was deliberate or just a result of the game mechanics chucking him out. I don't think he would voluntarily leave the session and the hosting to a random person. Tsunoda leading and getting away has broken the DRS from FaZe Max, and then everybody else locked together between 3rd and 7th branch.
Yeah, this race is getting pretty close after the safety car. No real gaps besides the ones with Jamie and NRO, who I believe have both had moments already.
Check out Jimmy Allen through the middle sector, gaining hugely on Matty. He's obviously got better grip, whether that's through tyre wear or simply setup. What does Yarmo elect to do? He's going to stay out, and he's actually catching these two despite the difference in tyre usage as the leaders are heading through Eau Rouge again. We better watch that. We better try and stay with the cars through Eau Rouge. Forgive me if for the sake of the stream I'm flicking between drivers going through here, but I do want to catch everybody making it through safe. Different lines. Looks like everybody's okay this time round, Branch.
Yeah, it seems so. It's interesting that we're having to make sure we watch that.
Yeah,
it is a very dangerous corner. FaZe Max is actually catching Tsunoda right now. Seems to have overwhelming pace on him right now.
Yeah, fantastic. Absolutely, 3/10 now down the gap at the lead. Looks like FaZe Max has managed to get through that difficult stage of the hard tyre warm-up, and now he's on it. Florian's got a fan, Marcus, in the chat, cheering him on.
Yeah, I gotta think maybe at this point Tsunoda is realizing that he needs to back off a little bit. He can't take too much out of these tires, especially if he's going for the one-stop. But if he's going for the two-stop, I guess it wouldn't be that bad of an idea to push as hard as possible at this moment. But it doesn't look like he is.
FaZe Max is going to be heartened by the fact that he's gapped Huberto, who himself, at this early stage of the championship, is his main rival, but also has a 6-second penalty that should see him further down the grid. 2/10 it's down the back straight, goes around the outside. That was easily done. I wonder, did that look like Tsunoda let him go?
I think he definitely let him go.
Wow.
I think Tsunoda was actually trying to get DRS, but screwed it up, and FaZe Max actually got the DRS down the straight. But maybe Tsunoda is trying to get it for the camel straight, possibly, which isn't a bad idea necessarily. I don't know how sportsmanlike it is. I know a lot of drivers don't like people back off intentionally to get DRS like that.
Yeah, but it's playing the game, isn't it? And it's tactics. Yeah. It's a tactical weapon that's available to the drivers, and you'd say that they were foolish if they weren't using it. Jimmy Allen screaming down the inside of Matty. Looks like Jimmy's going to get through here. Had to do a little bit of it on the brakes, but great run through that dangerous section of track and makes the move up to 5th.
Yeah, it looks like we've lost NRO in Eau Rouge now, so we are down to 8 drivers.
Easy for you to say as Jamie goes through. Yeah. Okay, so Eau Rouge claims another victim of this difficult race. KMHD in the chat says, yeah, he thinks Tsunoda knew he was faster, but maybe prefers to follow behind. He won't want to lose another place like that. Florian's got by Huberto into the second sector branch. I didn't see how that happened.
Yeah, I didn't see that either, but Huberto seems to not have the kind of pace on these hard tires that FaZe does.
Yeah.
His tires are 4 laps older, so maybe that's playing into it a little bit, but I'd also expect to see the guys around him start to lose pace a little bit faster than he does, because they're already taking out a lot of the life out of those mediums.
Yeah, absolutely. Your order then, lap 14 it is now. They've just crossed the line. FaZe from Tsunoda, very closely following him behind. Then we've got Florian in the McLaren, Huberto in the Mercedes, with Jimmy Allen up to 5th now, Matty in 6th, and Yamo made it back up to 7th. It will show him having gained a lot of places, but he also lost quite a few because he made a mistake under the safety car. Tsunoda and FaZe are through safely. Jimmy Allen's on the attack again on Huberto Mancini, and it looks like Jimmy Allen really able to get through Eau Rouge beautifully. They're side by side. I think he's going to have a better braking angle yet. Jimmy up to 4th. Jimmy's on fire right now, Branch.
Yeah, he is really tearing it up at the moment. That was I was on board with him going through Eau Rouge, and he looked so confident. Didn't even lift off.
Nice.
Going through there. You'd expect to possibly do that following someone so closely, but he had the confidence to hold on the throttle, and because of that was able to get a clean pass and make the finish straight.
Awesome stuff from our drivers, keeping the car on the island so far. I'm not going to curse anybody because it can happen at any moment. Tsunoda is still hanging in within half a second, and that's going to help him down through Blanchimont. Won't get any DRS down there, and he's also reserved loads of ERS, Branch. He's not using a huge amount of it as he presses the button now to try and get into the tow, but FaZe quite a lot less ERS so far. It's going to close, but that's not going to be close enough.
I gotta think Tsunoda's move maybe to let FaZe by may have actually benefited him a lot more now. Because he is able to save up the ERS a little bit. He's using it now. I would expect him to use it a lot more down this straight possibly. But at the end of the day, Tsunoda still has to keep these tires going. I don't think he's going to hit again.
No, absolutely.
He's going to have to make it to the end of the race.
Now, an interesting point, I'm just going to watch the drivers go through Eau Rouge, but an interesting point that one of our audience makes on the chat, that he doesn't think Tsunoda wants to interfere in the championship because he's only a reserve driver. What's your view on that, Branch? Because there's two schools of thought. A reserve driver is in the race just the same as anybody else and has nothing to lose, effectively, should be able to push, or should they avoid getting involved in the championship situation?
You know, in my opinion, if I'm a reserve driver, I'm there to show that I have pace, so I don't think I would be the one to let people through for the sake of a championship.
Right.
If it was me.
I know I was watching the Formula E final race, and Nick de Vries was complaining that drivers weren't respecting his championship position as the sort of de facto champion at the time. But I think an interesting point within that is part of driving for a championship is knowing when to make the percentage moves and when not to. It's actually a challenge of being a championship contender, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's so hard to make those kinds of distinctions as a driver. You know,
yeah.
Obviously I understand. If I'm a driver and I'm ahead of someone who's in a championship, I understand that they are battling, but I'm also at the same time doing the same thing that they're doing.
Yeah, we saw Huberto go to the pits. 11 lap old hards. He's decided he's not going to enjoy those for any longer, and I think that will be, what, mediums at this point? Or can he get...
He's putting on the mediums.
Right.
He maybe could have made it on the softs, but it would have been a stretch, and I think he'd rather have the overwhelming pace throughout the rest of the race than have to worry about that.
Yamo pits again as well. Yeah, Yama
So
goes for softs, so and for an extra lap. So interesting, interesting tactically. The longer that Tsunoda hangs with Phase Max, the more I think that perhaps he made a simple error, and it wasn't a deliberate letting him through. The pace isn't that drastically different.
yeah, I don't know. It was a really confusing move because it looked like he broke very early. Maybe he just maybe it's a mistake. I don't really know. But at the moment, he is hanging with Phase Max pretty easily.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is that he's getting close to him, but not passing him. I don't know if that's deliberate or not.
I mean,
But I think
he's going to have to pit again. So the longer he can stay with Phase Max, the better his pit out track position is going to be, assuming we're going to have racing laps to the end of the race. I wonder if he's trying to hang on for a potential safety car. But it looks like Jimmy Allen has got by Florian, but I think Florian's made a mistake. Yeah, Florian round in, is that Stavlo?
I think it was Stavolo, yeah. Coming out of it, I bet he got onto that exit curb with the new ground effect downforce that is in this game. Getting on those curbs like that can really spin your car around, so I bet that's what happened to him.
Every evidence to me that Tsunoda's rear tyres are failing him at the moment would really, I could do with that fancy new graphic coming up to tell us his tyre wear, but really almost lost it coming out of the bus stop down the start-finish straight, and you can see that in the amount of time he lost, but he's regaining it again. He managed to stay within DRS and he's on his way.
Yeah, I also heard him lift a lot through Eau Rouge and Radeon, so he's definitely losing grip, but he's staying close enough to stay with Phase Max.
Balake in the chat asks why are there no leagues on Xbox. I think a simplistic answer to that would be Xboxes suck, but less inflammatory. There are actually some Xbox leagues, but it's the vast minority. There's even fewer Xbox drivers than there are PC drivers. So it does seem to me that PlayStation is the preferred medium for most of league racing, with PC not even close behind. I have also heard about a lot of Xbox specific glitches in the F1 series.
I actually didn't know about that. I bought one of the next gen Xboxes, the Series S, the one that comes without the disc tray.
Right.
I got one of those, and I wanted to get F1 2021 on it, but PlayStation just seems like it's a much more lively setting, I guess.
Yeah.
Per se. So, it's not happening anytime soon, I should say.
I think it's the place to be. That if you go on Grid Finder, no one's going to go and buy a brand new system just to league race. But if you do go on gridfinder.com, you will find Xbox leagues to race on if you want to, Balakate, and let us know how you get on if you do. There will just be less around, and potentially the competition level will be a little bit lower.
Yeah.
As a result.
Noticing Jamie came out of the pits there and let the lead drivers by before going through a rouge. The ghost cars, while they are ghosted, you can drive through them, they still produce dirty air. So it's fairly respectable of him to let them through so that his dirty air doesn't hinder the battle for the lead.
No, absolutely. Another question we've had, are these drivers playing on controllers or steering wheels? It's a mix, actually. It will be a free choice mix, and I think that's true up and down the league of PSGL. I don't think you'll find many drivers in F1 or 2 who are on controller, because there is time to be made on the. Yeah, I've just watched Jamie. He doing exactly the opposite of what you said. Being careful. He's reset to track as well, so if anyone watches that back, he'll be in trouble. But yeah, he was unlapping himself from Tsunoda and made a mistake into Lecombe and turned a car around. So yeah, didn't fully respect the blue flag situation. But yeah, Branch, definitely a difference between a mixture of controller and wheel drivers.
Yeah, I mean, you and me, just alone in the commentary box, you use wheel and I use a controller.
Right. And we know which of us are the faster. So yeah, I'll leave that to everybody's imagination. And if anyone has friends in common with us, they'll find out pretty quickly on the time trial that some people have all the gear and no idea. So yeah. Yarmo is catching Floyd. Let's get back to the race and not revisit my driving skill any further. Yarmo racing through now, but yeah, there's definitely speed to be had in either setup. But I say you probably won't find controller drivers in F1 and 2. But the only way that the leagues differ is by assist levels. So some of these drivers will be driving with racing line on, much to my disapproval. Some will be driving with varying different levels of ABS or traction control. Those are allowed in F11, but the highest leagues are no assists. So that's really how it differs, and you're only allocated your F league position simply by speed. Yeah.
So Tsunoda has fallen off heavily from Phase Max. His tires are completely gone at this point. Do you think he tries to just stick it out to the end of the race?
Well, he's got only 3 laps of tyre life difference between him and the rest of his rivals behind him, and the only thing that'll be guaranteed if he goes in the pits is that he'll be behind all of those. He'll be down to P8, and will he be able to regain those in 3 laps? I don't think so. So it might well do him a benefit to just gap Jimmy Allen rather than fighting for the lead for now and pitting. So we're in that phase of the race, lap 20, where a pit stop would be a huge punishment and very little reward opportunity. It looks like Florian is letting Yarmo go. It was caught a little bit unawares and spun around.
Coming out of Eau Rouge.
Well, we're just about to head on through Eau Rouge, so we'll see the aftermath of that. This could be very, very good for Tsunoda. Matty up to 3rd. Jimmy, did he recover back to racing speed that quickly?
I guess that was pretty interesting. He spun and then just, I guess, kind of caught it and kept going. Still losing a place, but being this close behind Matty, I don't think he's necessarily that annoyed about it.
Yarmo's got amazing pace right now, and it looks like Florian got back through. Actually, I think rather than letting him go, I think Florian was looking for that DRS. And Blizzard's last question, he promises transmission. That counts as an assist in my view. I think the drivers can run autos, but again, the speed penalty from running auto gears is such that really you're not going to be a very quick driver with automatic gears, Branch.
Yeah, absolutely. That's probably the first thing you need to learn.
Yeah.
To get away from assist is to learn how to gear yourself, because the amount of speed you can gain from going from auto to manual is extreme, like seconds per lap.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and the ability to correct with manual gears, to engine brake with manual gears, it's night and day, the difference. So yeah, you're right. Definitely get rid of that as quickly as you can. But the option's there, and it's available to the drivers if they want to. But I do think that in terms of speed, you're going to struggle. Florian lets Yarmo through again. This is looking rehearsed, Branch. This time Yarmo doesn't make a mistake on the exit of La Source, though. Let's see Jimmy through Eau Rouge. You said he had bags of confidence before. I think you might have had that chipped away a little bit.
Yeah.
Here he comes, past Matty. Wow. The overspeed there was extreme. We lost Huberto?
Yeah, through Eau Rouge, I think, through Eau Rouge, Huberto is out of the race. So, an unfortunate end for him. He's going to end up finishing 8th, I believe, because I think Jamie will unlap himself from Huberto at a certain point. And
that means, in terms of the championship, Phase Max will be on for first position tonight and maximum points. I'll have a look at fastest lap. Actually, I should probably have done that a few minutes ago. It's probably not worth it, but my money is on is on Yarmo, to be honest. Yeah, there he is. 1:43.1, the fastest lap. So maximum points unlikely for Phase Max on those long and old hard tyres. But 25 for a win versus his championship rival at the moment, Huberto. that's going to hurt and help him extend his lead, especially with Salad not present at tonight's race.
Yeah, absolutely. This will be a huge victory for FaZe Max, who started fourth and just kind of played it very safe throughout the safety
Right.
car periods, and he just had pace. You know, he
Yeah.
had pace over everyone else in the field. Sonoda losing it at the at the exit of Lasource. His tires are absolutely gone at this point.
Let's see if he can make it through through Eau Rouge.
Oh, that is a lot of lift right there.
Yes,
He,
absolutely.
luckily for him, is getting DRS from the lapped car in front of him, who I believe is Jamie.
Here comes Yamo again, though. He's having to get back past Matty. Matty must have got through again, but gets the job done into P4 now, and he'll be hoping to try and get Jimmy, who's just a few tenths up the road before the end of this lap. These soft tyres working beautifully for Yamo as everybody else's tyres are dropping off. We've had the majority of our finishers will be one-stoppers. Jamie has four-stopped his way through as well. But yeah, one-stop working well for our drivers right now.
Yeah, it seems. And you know, Sonoda, I think, is getting helped by the fact that everyone behind him is also on extremely worn tires. To the point where even though he's losing heaps of time from the wear he has, so is everyone else.
Right. Yamo will, of course, benefit from the penalty of Jimmy Allen as well. So Yamo looking for a podium finish is well on the cards for him. But FaZe Max is coming down to take the bus stop for the final time. For the Aston Martin that always go well in Spa. There he goes. Takes the win for FaZe Max in Belgium.
Whoa! Yarmo! My goodness, that was close.
Tsunoda will be second. Yamo, did he dive bomb up into the bus stop?
He was trying to get side by side. Jimmy didn't want him passing
I think
him,
he
so
picked up
Jimmy
a penalty.
He pushed him all the way to the outside, and then Yarmo had to cut the corner to get back on the circuit, and I think it gave him a penalty.
I think that might be difficult for a steward inquiry at the end there, Branch, because that gave Yamo a penalty. And he has been deposed from the podium. I wonder, was that a tactical decision by Jimmy?
Yeah, it looked pretty deliberate. The way he squeezed him, I think the stewards may be on Yarmo's side there.
Okay.
I think that penalty might end up getting removed.
Well, we only see it once, so benefit the doubt. We'll go with the drivers to be inadvertent when it comes to contact, but. Yeah, we will see what happens. We will update you at the end of at the start of next week's race as to how that all shook out. But Tsunoda relieved to finish the race tonight, and honestly, I'm pretty relieved to see some racing laps. So your result then tonight is FaZe Max getting another win, his second win out of 3 from Tsunoda. We see Matty on the podium with Florian, Jimmy Allen, and Yamo, but I'm tempted to think that penalty Yamo received, he ended up with a 13-second penalty at the end there. I'm not quite sure how that works out, but yeah, the penalty he received, I'm fairly sure will not stay with him at the end as things shake out. Invalidated lap time we've got on lap 22, so I don't know if that was even a genuine Jimmy Allen produced penalty. That seems really odd.
Well, so what happened was, going into the bus stop, they were going into braking, and Jimmy Allen pushed Yarmo so far to the outside that Yarmo was actually on the grass and couldn't really slow down.
Right.
To the point where he just completely missed the corner, and he had to cut the corner to get back onto the track, and I think the way he cut the corner gave him a 10-second penalty.
Wow, okay, interesting. I believe that FaZe Max probably will not be up for an interview again. I'd love it if our drivers could either indicate if they wish to have an interview or at least give us a quick debrief. But as things stand, Tsunoda will be second, and it was Matty in third. So we can try them for an interview. But I'll keep you abreast of any developments in the chat or in the. Tsunoda's up for it. NRX space Tsunoda. Branch. He's up for it. Jamie said he got his setup off the quickest time on time trial. I think he's going to go back to his old one. Unfortunately, a time trial setup is not great for the race, almost always. So definitely reconsider that idea. Um, but what else? What else happened? Jimmy saying he's a bottle. I'm not quite sure what that means. But take from that what you will. Uh, yeah, a conservation run for many of our drivers at the end, their Branch. What are your sort of takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, the we saw two safety cars fairly early on in the race, and it definitely changed the outlook a bit. I'm really surprised that Sonoda was able to finish as high as he was. That strategy, when we saw it, seemed a little illogical, but at the end of the day, it ended up working out perfectly for him. And I think you mentioned he needed a safety car to make that strategy work, and he did get one. So
Yeah,
I feel like that was probably the reason he was able to go so far on those mediums.
yeah. I think a great race from Yamo actually. He did get driver of the day, just mostly down to the places gained, I guess, from his starting position. But he'll be very disappointed not to be on the podium. And he's already asking what Jimmy did to him. So he can watch back what your kind of review of that moment. We're just waiting to see if NRX Tsunoda will show. We can have a try for Jimmy or Yamo as well, and see if either of them want to talk, because it's be definitely interesting to hear from them. I don't know about Matty. I haven't heard anything, but it looks like Tsunoda joins us. Tsunoda, just make sure, please, that your audio settings under the broadcast settings are set to share. Otherwise, it will just be a one-on-one chat with me. Maybe Branch might hear you if you're in the party. And Branch, by all means, ask your questions. But Tsunoda, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm just having a look if I can get if I think I've got the one.
Tsunoda is with us. Maybe someone helpful in the chat can let us know if they can hear Tsunoda yet. But that was quite a difficult race. It must have been hard to keep your focus all the way through.
Yeah, it was really difficult. The tires, they were pretty done by the end of the race. They were on 7th, I think. It was really hard to get the tires in a operating window at the start.
Yeah.
But I think I had to let FaZe Max through as well to keep with him and his DRS to be able to get that stint and hopefully get a gap to the others behind.
Yeah, it looked like you were letting him through, and then you stayed with him, and that was a tactical decision.
Yeah, it was.
Sweet.
Obviously, when you realize that you've not got the pace at the end, you have to sometimes sacrifice your position.
Get creative
So,
with it, yeah.
yeah, yeah, I had to let him through, and I was keeping pace at the start because I think his tires weren't really in a great range compared, obviously, with the grip difference and how much of a difference it makes at such a track like Spa. And then obviously I fell off, but yeah, it was tactical. I did it clearly intentionally just to give myself a person to kind of push and pull with,
Yeah.
and it worked in the end. So I'm really happy with the result.
Yeah. Branch, anything from you?
Yeah, I just want to know, because you made the decision to go onto those mediums much earlier than anyone else in the field. What made you decide to go onto the mediums as opposed to the hards?
Um, well, the tires, the soft tires, I had to do 2 runs because I didn't think I'd get
Yeah.
back into the pit lane on the first run. So I did that second run, and then I thought, I didn't pit on the first lap. If I come in now, I'll have at least one less lap to deal with if I'm gonna have to get to the end of the race. I was also banking on a safety car at the end, but I knew with the amount of people that were there and how it was looking that I was not really going to get that, so I just took a risk with it. But I really wanted to have that grip at the start phase instead of the hards with the process of how long it takes to warm them up. So that was really the key decision there in the pit lane, and I think it worked.
It definitely did. Branch, just to mention, Yamo's up for a chat if you can have a look, see if you can get hold of him. But Tsunoda, the how difficult was the race? Were you kind of holding your breath through Eau Rouge and Pouin every lap?
I was fine with Puon, but I think Eau Rouge, it was pretty hard. I did lift off because I was a little bit uncomfortable with how the feedback you get going up the
Right.
hill. It's really difficult this year.
Yeah.
So I did lift off somewhat, but not too much. But when I did feel like the tires were gonna not really stick to the track, I did lift off to get through the corner, and it worked. Yeah.
Awesome. So a lot of practice. You felt you had quite a bit of confidence under the car today.
Yeah, the car felt great. I mean, the setup is really what I think helped. It was pretty quick in a straight line, but also it did have the cornering speed, which is what you need on a track like Spa with the second sector, obviously, and the last and the first sector effectively just being two straights, really. But yeah,
Yeah.
the car felt really good, and so did the tires as well. Like, the tires really did help. But yeah, everything felt good.
Well, that's awesome. I think that the third step on the podium may be under protest, but congratulations on second place, and you've certainly shown that you've got great speed and a justification for joining the F11 division, if possible, if a seat comes available. Tsunoda, well done.
Yeah, thank you, man. And yeah, it's a great race.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for stopping by. I think we've had Yamo has joined. Yamo, you look like you had amazing pace there through the race today.
I don't know if he's with us yet.
I saw him turn up, and
He is in the party. I don't know if he can hear us though.
getting hold of a microphone, I think, checking his settings.
I was muted.
There we go. Hey, Yamo. An amazing race. We'll deal with the ending in a minute, but you had tremendous pace after starting 14th.
Yeah, my pace was quite good, I think. Rouge keeps being difficult. But at the end, I made a mistake on my own from safety car.
Yeah.
Suddenly my rear just gone underneath me. And the safety cars did mess up my strategy like a bit. Because I was just planning to go lap 13 to the softs, which I still did, and well, my pace just got me into the position where I was at the end.
Yeah. Branch, what do you think?
Yes, so I was on board with you for the last corner going into the bus stop. I just want to know what your perspective is on that, because I had a perspective. Webo didn't get to see it. So what did you see?
Well, he left space on the outside. So I go on for the outside move. So I had the inside for the left-hander of the chicane. And yeah, he just, as I was on the outside, he gone to the outside as well. And pushed me literally off the grass, which I had a big snap from oversteer, from the grass. And just got the car stopped in time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got myself 30 seconds of penalties. Because the one track limit warning at the left, because it got pushed off. And then another for, I think, cutting the corners 10 seconds and another warning or so.
Yeah,
So,
it looks. I don't know whether you. I'm sure you'll try and report that.
Of course.
Yeah, because it looks like
100%.
you've got a fairly good case, at least from Branch's first glance. And if you've got a recording, then I'm sure that will help. Jimmy has just responded in the chat and said, "Why would I ask for his view of the last lap bus stop?" He said he didn't do anything wrong. He moved before the braking, and you were going too quickly. Any response to that, Yamo?
Yeah.
Keep it clean.
It's just, yeah, in my point of view, he just, he could have saw me at the outside.
Yeah.
And he should have reacted to that. With a little steering input from him, it could have all been avoided.
Yeah, and
In my opinion.
he had a penalty, so you didn't need to make the move?
No, I wanted to make the move because I didn't know where he got the 5 seconds from.
Sure. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course. You'd be wary of that, wouldn't you? Yeah.
I will say, Jimmy, that the reason Jimmy got that penalty, I remember, was because we were very confused. It said that he got it for
Ignoring
ignoring
yellow
yellow
flags.
flags,
Yeah.
which I feel like might end up getting removed. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my conclusion why I needed to make the move. And he left the space pretty open at the outside, so I 100% gone for it. And yeah,
Sure.
then the gap got closed, and I was pushed off the grass. And my little brother is next to me, and he said that I got 3 seconds from the collision, and 10 seconds from the corner cutting.
Yes, and it all happened in one go, and that deposed
Yes.
you by several places. You were on for a podium. A very, very strong drive from you tonight, Yarmo. You can at
Thank you.
least take from that you've got great speed.
Yeah.
What was the issue in quali? Why didn't you hook it up?
Sorry?
Why didn't you get the lap together in quali?
Yeah, I was still eating dinner.
Yes.
And I just gone out between dinner to go for one push lap. So I gave it all. And yeah, that got me crashed. And then invalid.
Well, perhaps reschedule dinner next week because I think you're on for a much better result if you can manage to do that. But
Yeah.
we understand the pressures in the house. Whoever's cooking the dinner would not be impressed if you're not there to eat it. So, yeah. Congratulations anyway. It was a strong drive. I'm sure you'll enjoy watching it back. Apart from maybe that safety car moment and the very last corner.
Yeah.
But yeah, well done, and we look forward to seeing that kind of action again next week.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks a lot, Yarmo. Thanks
Yeah.
for that. We've got I've just heard from FaZe Max Branch, who said he was really pleased with his race, as you'd expect. Great lap in qualifying, and had great pace all the way. And he said GG to Tsunoda because he had a great battle. So I'm sure that when you're let through, it does feel like a good battle. I don't know, Branch.
yeah, it was less of a battle and more of a chase, I would say. Tsunoda obviously did put up a fight, but FaZe Max definitely had the overwhelming speed over Tsunoda. It really, like, I could tell when Tsunoda was struggling to get past him early on in that stint when Tsunoda's tires were already starting to fall off. I knew that at a certain point Tsunoda was just not going to be able to keep up.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, a great race by FaZe Max, a great race by Tsunoda.
Yep.
Hopefully Yarmo is able to get those penalties sorted out. Maybe the 3 seconds will stay because it was a collision, but I feel like the 10 seconds was a little bit excessive, and he'll probably end up getting at least that removed. I don't know where that would put him, and if that would put him on the podium or not, but nonetheless, he had a great race, starting from the back and finishing almost on the podium.
Well, we have independent stewards who will take a look at all the information. They'll watch both replays from the drivers several times to decide on the correct outcome. But it is motor racing. We do want to see drivers battling on the last lap. So it's just one of those things that happens that is a result of getting entertaining racing. Well, I hope everybody's enjoyed tonight's race. I know Branch and I have enjoyed it. Branch, would you stay with Yarmo as driver of the day, or would you be picking somebody else?
I'd have to say it's either Yarmo or Tsunoda. Both of them had extremely solid races where they just kept a pace throughout and made the right decisions at the right times. Yarmo, obviously, you could say not driver of the day because he did spin under safety car in first place.
Yeah.
But he had a great recovery, and he wasn't supposed to be in there in the first place. So, I think either Yarmo or Tsunoda, but both of them really do deserve it.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for tuning in tonight and engaging. All the comments were fantastic. Make sure you leave us a like and a subscribe on your way out the door. But it's been a pleasure to enjoy lots of racing laps around Belgium this evening after a difficult day in the real racing. Hope we can have more good racing to give you next week. Make sure you tune in at same time next week. But until then, from Branch and me, we will catch you on the next race day.